Hello and welcome to Sharon Local History, welcome to Sharon, Massachusetts, and welcome to Sharon Historical Society. This month we have the Boston Post cane on display, and I would like to tell you a little bit about it. It is one of the most fascinating objects we have in our collection in the archives, and the history comes from the brainstorm of a publisher, Edwin A. Grozier, to boost circulation of his newspaper, the Boston Post. In 1909, realizing the value of a good human interest story and his good fortune of securing at an auction of unclaimed packages canes made of African ebony with 14-karat rolled gold heads, he formulated the plan to present a cane to each town's oldest citizen. Crozier boasted that the recipient's stories would create an interesting galaxy of the longevity and vigor of New England's manhood. The select men of the towns were to give out the canes and return to Crozier a biography and photo of the recipient. Over 700 towns through New England took him up on the offer. Despite their origins as abandoned property, the canes are quite nice. Like any good cane, they have a satisfying heft, having been made of Gabon ebony from the Congo, a type of wood frequently used to piano keys. There are knob-style canes with handle made of rolled 14-karat gold. The handle of our cane is stamped, presented by the Boston Post to the oldest citizen of Sharon, Mass., and at bottom in parentheses to be transmitted. The original recipient of the Post cane for Sharon was Solomon Talbot at a public reception in the Old Town Hall on August 10, 1909, at the age of 95. Talbot was one of the founding members of the original Sharon Historical Society in 1903. During the ceremony, Talbot called it one of the signal honors of my long life. Interestingly, Talbot's brother, Peter Talbot, 86, of Canton, also received a cane, a reflection of the shortness of the average lifespan 100 years ago. The cane was then presented to Charles Derry in 1914, according to a Sharon Advocate article at the time. Despite such an auspicious beginning, the tradition died off for unknown reasons in Sharon. People often turned down the privilege of receiving the cane out of fear that the cane was cursed and they would suddenly die after receiving the cane. Mace Hickson was reported in the Advocate to have said, when he refused the cane, "Everyone who gets that cane dies." In Sharon Advocate, dated 1950s, there is a mention of the effort of town clerk Arthur Collins, town clerk at the time, to revive the tradition in 1950s. The article describes his effort to determine who was the oldest person. Undoubtedly, this was harder in the 1950s with a population of 7,000 than that it was when the tradition started, and Sharon was a small village of slightly over 2,000 people. After a lapse of almost 60 years, the Sharon Historical Society was revived in 1982. The tradition of the Boston cane was restored in 1983 when Mrs. Edith Kellogg, at the age of 101 years, was awarded a silver cane that was gifted to the Society from the Realtors of Sharon. Claire Foreman, the president of the Society at the time, awarded the new cane to Mrs. Edith Kellogg. Both the original and the new cane are now on display at Sharon Historical Society Museum. So I was just reading an article created by Claire Foreman and Doug Southard, and pictures by me. And you can visit Sharon Historical Society at 16 High Street during our open hours, which is 3 times a week, and you can see the cane for yourself. Thank you for watching Sharon Local History.